know what's funny? We live in a world where everyone wants to be seen, heard, noticed. We chase attention like it's oxygen. But here's the truth. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is disappear for a while, because absence speaks louder than presence. Let them miss you. Let them wonder what happened to you. Let them realize your value when your silence starts echoing louder than your words ever did. When you are always there for everyone, every single time they call, every time they need something, you show up, you answer, you give, people slowly begin to forget that your presence is a gift, not a guarantee. They stop noticing your kindness because it becomes expected. They stop appreciating your efforts because it becomes normal. And one day, you'll realize that the very same people who once said, "I can't imagine my life without you," now treat you like you're invisible. You see, my friends, that's what constant presence does. It breeds ignorance. Not because people are bad, but because human nature gets comfortable. When something or someone is always available, we stop valuing it. Imagine this. You walk into your room every day and see the same sunlight shining through your window. You never stop to thank it. But the day it rains, the day the sky turns gray, you suddenly realize how much that warmth meant to you. The same happens in relationships. The same happens in friendships. When you're too available, your value starts fading. Not because you're worth less, but because you've stopped reminding people of your worth by being too present. The truth is, appreciation often grows in distance. People begin to see what you bring when it's not constantly in front of them. And sometimes, stepping back is not rejection, it's reflection. It's giving people the space to remember what it feels like to have you around. So if you've ever felt unnoticed, unappreciated, or taken for granted, don't beg for attention. Don't shout to be seen. Just step back. Withdraw your constant availability. Let them feel the silence you leave behind, because absence is not emptiness. It's education. It teaches people that your energy, your time, your presence were never free. They were privileges. And those who truly value you will miss you. Those who don't were never meant to stay. Never fear being missed. Fear being forgotten while you're still standing right there. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is to walk away for a while. Not in anger, not in ego, but in silence. Because absence creates space for appreciation. Think about it. When you're always around someone, when you're always available, people stop realizing what you truly bring into their life. They get used to your presence like they get used to the air they breathe. It's only when the air shifts, when you step back, that they suddenly feel something missing. That's when realization begins. When you take a step back, something magical happens. People start to notice the void. They start to feel your silence, your laughter that's no longer there, your energy that used to fill the room. They begin to remember all the little things you did that they took for granted. Your calls they ignored now feel precious. Your words they brushed off now echo louder in their minds. And your presence, once so easily accessible, becomes something they deeply crave. You see, we often think that staying around, constantly showing up, is the only way to show love or loyalty. But that's not true. Sometimes love needs distance to grow. Just like the night sky needs darkness for stars to shine, relationships need moments of separation to rediscover light. Absence doesn't always mean disconnection. It means giving someone a chance to recognize your worth without you having to prove it every day. When you step back, it's not to punish anyone, it's to protect your energy. It's to allow space for gratitude to bloom again. Because if you keep watering a plant non-stop, it drowns. But if you give it space, light, and air, it thrives. The same is true with people. When you stop over-giving, over-explaining, and over-chasing, you allow others to come forward on their own. That's when you'll see who truly values you and who only valued your convenience. Absence isn't a wall, it's a mirror. It shows people who they are when you're not around. And if they realize how much they miss your presence, your guidance, your warmth, then your silence has done something more powerful than your words ever could. But if they don't notice, then your absence has given you the answer your presence never could. So don't be afraid to take that step back. Don't fear the quiet that follows. In that quiet, real understanding begins. Let them feel your absence. Because that's when appreciation is born. That's when people realize you were never just there, you were holding the whole space together. Your energy is sacred. It's not something everyone deserves unlimited access to. Every time you give your time, your love, your attention, you are spending the most valuable currency you have. Yet so many of us hand it out freely, without thinking, to people who don't value it, who only take and never give back. Protecting your energy doesn't mean you've become selfish. It means you've finally understood your worth. It means you've realized that not everyone deserves a seat at your table, and not every call deserves to be answered. There are people who will drain you without even realizing it. They will take your kindness as weakness, your patience as permission, and your presence as obligation. And if you keep pouring into everyone else, you'll eventually find yourself empty, with nothing left for the person who matters most to you. Your peace, your happiness, your clarity, these are things you must guard with your life. Because the world will always ask for more. It will always demand your attention, your energy, your focus. But very few will offer the same in return. So you must learn to say no without guilt. You must learn to walk away from conversations that leave you exhausted. You must learn to distance yourself from people who only show up when they need something. Protecting your energy is not about building walls. It's about setting boundaries that allow your soul to breathe. It's about understanding that your presence is powerful, but only when it comes from a place of balance, not burnout. Think about it. When your phone battery runs low, you don't keep using it until it dies. You plug it in, you recharge it, you protect its power. Yet when you are drained, when your emotional or mental battery is running out, you keep giving. You keep showing up for everyone but yourself. And then you wonder why you feel tired, unseen, or disconnected. You cannot light up anyone's world if your own light is fading. Protect your light. Protect your peace. There is strength in stepping back, in saying, not today. There is wisdom in choosing silence over arguments, solitude over noise, and peace over approval. Because when you stop wasting your energy on things that drain you, you start attracting things that grow you. You'll begin to notice that your world becomes calmer, your mind becomes clearer, and your heart feels lighter. You'll find that the people who truly value you will respect your space, not resent it. Protecting your energy doesn't push good people away. It filters out the ones who never intended to stay. The moment you stop overextending yourself, you begin to see who's willing to meet you halfway. You stop being the chaser and start being the chooser. You stop running after validation and start walking toward peace. That's when you realize your energy was never meant to be given to everyone. It was meant to be shared with those who see its worth. So guard it, not with fear, but with love. Because when you protect your energy, you protect your purpose. You protect your ability to give genuinely, to love deeply, and to live fully. And the right people, the ones who truly care, will never make you feel guilty for doing that. They'll understand, they'll respect it, they'll value you more for it. And that's when you'll know your energy is safe. Silence is one of the most powerful languages in the world. You don't need to announce your distance. You don't have to explain why you stopped showing up or why you no longer respond the way you used to. Sometimes, silence says everything words cannot. It speaks of disappointment without bitterness, of wisdom without argument, and of growth without explanation. It's the calm voice that says, I've learned what I needed to learn, and now I choose peace. When someone hurts you, when they take your kindness for granted, your first instinct might be to explain yourself, to make them understand how you feel, to prove your worth, or to get closure. But have you noticed, the more you explain, the less they listen. The more you talk, the less they understand. Because words lose their power when they fall on ears that are not ready to hear. That's where silence becomes your strength. When you go quiet, when you stop arguing, when you stop justifying your presence or your decisions, people start to feel what they once ignored. Silence is not weakness, it's emotional maturity. It's choosing not to waste your energy where it won't be valued. It's realizing that peace is better than proving a point. The moment you choose silence, you take back your power. You stop feeding the drama. You stop giving attention to what doesn't deserve it. And the most beautiful thing happens. Your silence begins to echo in their mind louder than any argument could. They start to notice your absence in conversations, your stillness in chaos, your calmness where there used to be reaction. They start to feel your withdrawal, not as punishment, but as realization. Have you ever walked away quietly and then noticed how the room suddenly feels different? That's the energy of silence. When you stop responding, people begin to confront their own behavior. They start to think, did I go too far? Did I lose something real? And that's when awareness awakens. Not because you shouted, not because you fought, but because your silence became the mirror that reflected their actions back at them. Silence is powerful because it doesn't beg, it doesn't chase, it doesn't try to convince. It simply is. It holds a kind of dignity that chaos can never touch. You see, sometimes words only add noise to the situation. Silence, on the other hand, brings clarity. It gives people the space to miss you, to think about what they said, to realize the weight of their actions. It allows the truth to unfold naturally without your interference. And it's not just about others. Silence heals you too. When you stop explaining and start observing, you find peace within yourself. You start hearing your own thoughts more clearly. You begin to understand that not every battle is meant to be fought. Not every truth needs to be spoken. And not every person deserves access to your emotions. Silence becomes your shield. It guards your heart from unnecessary pain and gives your mind the stillness it needs to grow. So, the next time you feel the urge to explain why you're pulling away, don't. The people who genuinely care will sense your silence. They'll feel it. They'll come closer, not out of guilt, but out of love. And the ones who don't notice, they were never really listening in the first place. Let your silence do the talking. Because sometimes, the loudest message you can ever send is no message at all. Respect is never earned through desperation. It's not something you can beg for, prove, or demand. It's something that naturally grows when you value yourself enough to step back instead of chasing approval. When you're always trying to make people like you, when you keep explaining your worth, when you go out of your way to prove your loyalty, you slowly start to lose the very thing that makes people respect you, your dignity. There's a simple truth that most of us learn the hard way. The more you try to be seen, the more invisible you become. The more you try to prove your worth, the less valuable you appear. Because respect doesn't come from trying harder. It comes from standing taller. It comes from knowing when to stop giving your energy to those who don't value it. When you constantly chase someone's approval, you hand them the power to define your worth. But when you choose to walk away, when you hold your silence, when you set boundaries without anger, that's when they start to see your strength. Distance teaches respect in ways words never can. When you stop showing up for people who take you for granted, they start to realize the quiet truth of what you brought into their lives. They remember your kindness, your stability, your presence. They remember how it felt when you were there and how different it feels when you're not. And that realization doesn't come from confrontation, it comes from absence. Respect often blooms in the quiet space you create when you stop forcing it. Many people confuse respect with fear. They think if they raise their voice, they'll be heard. If they dominate, they'll be obeyed. But true respect doesn't come from control. It comes from calm. It comes from grace under pressure. It comes from the quiet confidence of someone who doesn't need validation to know their value. You don't gain respect by reacting. You gain it by not reacting. By knowing when to walk away, when to be silent, and when to simply let your actions speak louder than your explanations. When you stop proving yourself, you start preserving yourself. You stop wasting energy trying to make others see your value, and you begin to live in a way that naturally reflects it. People can feel that energy. They can sense that quiet confidence in your presence. They realize you don't need their approval to feel whole, and that's when they start giving it to you. Ironically, the moment you stop needing respect from others is when they begin to respect you the most. There is a deep dignity in restraint. The ability to walk away without bitterness, to stay calm when provoked, to say less and mean more. That's what separates those who are respected from those who are merely noticed. When you stop arguing with people who are committed to misunderstanding you, when you stop trying to fix those who never saw your effort, you shift from seeking respect to commanding it. And that shift happens quietly, without announcement. So don't chase respect. Don't beg anyone to see your value. Let your boundaries speak. Let your peace do the talking. Let your absence show what your presence was worth. Because desperation pushes people away, but dignity pulls them closer. And when you start choosing distance over desperation, silence over shouting, and calm over chaos, that's when you rise. That's when you earn the kind of respect that doesn't fade with time. The less you try to prove your worth, the more they'll feel it. The less you try to explain yourself, the clearer your truth becomes. So stand tall in your quiet strength. Let them see, by the way you carry yourself, that you are not afraid to lose anyone, because you've already found yourself. And that, my friend, is where true respect begins. When you step back and focus on your own growth, something incredible happens. The world starts to notice, even if you say nothing at all. People who once overlooked you begin to wonder what changed. They start to ask, what's different about them? And that's the beauty of growth done in silence. You don't have to announce it, you don't have to post about it, and you don't have to prove it. You simply evolve quietly, steadily, powerfully, until your transformation speaks louder than your presence ever did. There comes a point in every relationship or connection where words stop mattering. You've explained enough. You've tried enough. You've given enough. And still, people fail to see your worth. But when you finally stop trying to make them understand, when you redirect that effort inward, into your healing, your discipline, your peace, your growth becomes undeniable. You start glowing differently. Not because life suddenly got easier, but because you learned to stop pouring into others and started pouring into yourself. While they're busy wondering why you've become distant, you're busy becoming different. You're reading more, thinking deeper, healing old wounds, improving your habits, strengthening your mind. You're no longer living to be understood. You're living to be at peace. You no longer chase people to see your value. You become so focused on your purpose that they have no choice but to notice your progress. That's when growth turns into power. It's no longer about proving your worth to others. It's about remembering it yourself. Growth doesn't make noise. It doesn't need applause. It's silent, consistent, and deeply personal. You start to outgrow the need for validation. You stop begging for attention. You stop explaining why you're quiet, why you're distant, why you're different. Because you finally understand that real change doesn't need to be broadcasted. It simply needs to be lived. You let your results do the talking. You let your peace become your response. You let your success become the echo of your silence. When people finally realize what you brought to their lives, it won't be because you reminded them. It will be because your absence forced them to see it. They'll look back and see how stable you were, how much you cared, how much you gave without expecting anything in return. And when they come back, they'll meet a version of you that no longer needs their approval. Because while they were ignoring you, you were evolving. While they were busy judging you, you were building yourself. While they were comfortable in your old energy, you were outgrowing everything that kept you small. That's the quiet revenge of growth. You don't hurt anyone, you just become better. You don't fight to be seen, you become so radiant that they can't ignore you. You don't argue about your worth, you become living proof of it. The best thing you can ever do when people fail to appreciate you is to disappear into your own transformation. Let your peace confuse them, let your progress humble them, and let your growth remind them of what they lost. There is something deeply powerful about a person who chooses silence over revenge, peace over chaos, and progress over proving a point. You become untouchable. People start realizing that your silence was not weakness, it was evolution. It was the sound of you rising beyond the noise, choosing purpose over people, and creating a life that no longer depends on being understood. So, while they wonder where you went, keep moving. While they miss the old you, keep becoming someone new. Because the best message you can ever send to those who underestimated you is not through words, not through arguments, but through growth. Let your transformation be their realization. Let your peace be their reminder. And let your evolution speak in the silence where your explanations used to be. When you stop chasing, you finally start attracting. Life has a strange way of rewarding those who stop begging for attention and start walking in self-respect. You see, the moment you begin to chase people love or validation, you send out a silent message to the world. that what you seek is more valuable than what you already are. And that's not true. The most magnetic people are the ones who know their worth so deeply that they no longer run after what's not meant for them. They move with calmness, with confidence, with peace, because they understand that what belongs to them will always find them, and what leaves was never truly theirs to begin with. When you chase people, you lose your balance. You start shrinking yourself to fit into spaces you were never meant to fit in. You start bending your boundaries just to keep others close. You start compromising your peace just to feel relevant. But every time you do that, you move further away from your true self. Because real love, real friendship, real connection, they don't require you to beg. They don't require you to keep proving your worth. They flow naturally when you're aligned with who you are, not when you're desperate to be chosen. The truth is, when you chase something, it runs faster. It's human nature. The more you try to hold on, the more people pull away. But when you stop chasing, when you slow down and focus on yourself, you start vibrating at a different frequency. You begin to attract instead of pursue. You start to draw in people who are aligned with your peace, not your pain. That's when you realize that attraction isn't about appearance. It's about energy. Calm energy pulls, desperate energy pushes. The moment you stop forcing connections, the right ones begin to flow naturally. Don't be afraid to walk away from those who make you feel like you're too much or not enough. Don't try to convince anyone to see your value. You don't need to beg to be understood. You don't need to chase to be loved. You only need to become so centered, so grounded, so full within yourself that those meant for you are naturally drawn to your presence. That's the difference between chasing and attracting. One drains your soul, the other fills it. When you chase, you hand over your power. When you attract, you reclaim it. You begin to understand that you are not supposed to run after people to stay in your life. You are supposed to walk in your truth and allow those who can meet you there to stay. The rest will drift away, and that's okay, because every time someone leaves, it's not rejection, it's redirection. It's life removing what doesn't serve your growth. There's peace in letting go. There's beauty in trusting that if something is meant for you, it will not require you to chase it. And if it requires force, pressure, or fear of loss, it was never love, it was attachment. Real love stays when you stop trying to hold it. Real respect grows when you stop trying to demand it. Real peace begins when you stop trying to prove your worth. You don't lose people by walking away. You lose the ones who never deserve to stay. The ones who truly care will never make you question your place in their life. They'll meet you halfway, they'll value your effort, they'll respect your distance. So, stop running after what doesn't run toward you. Stop lowering yourself for temporary attention. Stop begging for connection in places that drain your spirit. Instead, stand tall. Be silent. Work on yourself. Heal your wounds. Build your peace. Because when you are focused on your growth, your light begins to shine differently. And that light draws in exactly what's meant for you. The moment you stop chasing is the moment you start attracting. And the things and people that are truly yours will come, not because you begged for them, but because your energy finally matched their frequency. So breathe, let go, don't chase. The universe is not ignoring you, it's waiting for you to stop running so it can finally deliver what's already meant for you.